Hi, welcome to Bright Hope Creations. I'm Kara and today we're making an easy watercolor card. I'm using the Sentiments of Love, the Love Word with Shadow, the Stitched Frame from Card Front Element Builder, the Simple Heart, the Dangle Hearts, Strathmore Cold Press Watercolor Paper. I like the block form so I don't have to tape anything down. So I'm starting with some Brusho. This is orange, and I have a hole poked in the top of the cap, and I'm just sprinkling it around. The thing that I'm trying to do here is get my background made. So I'm just sprinkling 3 colors. I have the Scarlet was the last one, and this is Brilliant Red. I'm tapping that all over, and I will spray it with just a regular spray bottle. And here's where I have to be careful. And I just want to spray it enough so that you get these little veiny looking sections, but I want to keep white on my paper, and so I'm trying to be cautious with the amount that I'm spraying on here, and then tapping in a little more of the red, and then I have to leave it alone. And that's the hardest part of this whole card, is to let things dry, leave it alone. And you can see in that one splotchy area, I didn't leave that alone. So now I have an opening in a piece of printer paper that will just show me which section I want. So I decided which section, and now I'm adding more of the watercolor powder because I'm going to now make the section that's not going to be the background. And I am coming in, I'm spritzing that with water, and I'm going to try to make this more solid colors so that it shows up on my background. So I'm taking a watercolor brush and just blending that together, and then I'll add extra powder and spray it again. And I'm trying to keep enough of the orange showing, but I want this area to be predominantly red because this is where I'm going to do my die cutting. All right, so once I have that all ready to go, I need to let that dry again. And again, that's the hardest part about this whole card, is waiting. Otherwise, it's a pretty simple card with a lot of impact. All right, I let it dry, and now I'm going to put an extra layer on there to give it more interest, some depth. Once I looked at my die cuts at the end, I didn't have to do this necessarily, but one nice thing is that once you let stuff dry, you can put on an extra layer, and you can see now I have much more going on there. So my die cuts will have the same colors and the look of the background, but they will be solid. So I keep fussing with it and adding more red because I want to darken it up. I didn't want, with the red and orange together, it was kind of an orangey red, and I wanted some solid red areas in there. And anywhere that it was starting to buckle, the water would kind of go into that area, and so I just soaked it up with a paper towel. And with this block type of watercolor paper, it's sealed around all the edges, so it actually dries fairly flat in the end. All right, now I'm deciding where I want to put those die cuts. I want a little of that orange in there. And I think in the end that is not where I end up with the heart, but it's kind of that type of look that I'm going for. So I'm going to die cut out all my pieces. There's that background and the love word, and I die cut the shadow from plain watercolor paper as well as the dangle heart, and then there's the simple heart. I'm positioning everything where I think I want them. because then I'm going to come in with some strips for the sentiment, and I die cut out an area with the same stitched background from the card front element builder. And now I'm just going to stamp my sentiment with some Versamark ink, which is a clear ink, so that I can emboss it with some white embossing powder. Then I just tap that off, and I will heat that up, and it really shows up nice and white on this watercolor paper. I wasn't sure because watercolor paper has a little more texture to it, but it embossed just fine. So now I'm placing where I want the next part of the sentiment, and I want to kind of put it in between the love word. So I place everything on there to see where I want it, and then I'll place on the paper that I want to stamp on right over it and pull the other things out. So in the end, it's going to say, sending you lots of love. I really like that sentiment because you could use it for a Valentine card, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a Valentine card. We can send lots of love any time of the year. So now I'm just putting on some of the embossing powder and heating that up, and then I'll cut this into a strip as well. Once I have all of my pieces ready to go, I can start the assembly. So first of all, I'm going to get a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note card, and I'll adhere my background to that with the tape runner. Make sure it's on there just right. I put quite a bit of adhesive on there because it is that watercolor paper, and I just wanted to make sure that if it was warped at all, that would all settle down and sit flat on the card. And then I put some glue on the back of the word love, and I'm gluing that onto the shadow. And I really like having that shadow because it separates the word love from the background, and you can really see the word love. It doesn't get lost when it goes over the different sentiment strips and on the background, because the background's a little busy. You can see on those sentiment strips too, I tried to get a bit of orange and red on there, so it had a bit of both. And the dangle hearts cut out of plain watercolor paper, that's just such a nice element to drop your eye down to the heart. It brings a good balance to the right side of the card. So just going to adhere the heart, and then I will put the sentiment strips in place. It's interesting. I use a combination of glue and tape runner on adhering this card, and I don't have a rhyme or reason for that. It's just whatever I felt like at the time. I guess that's artistic license. Well, anyway, so here's the second strip. Put that down, and then I'm going to use glue on the hearts. Well, that makes sense, right? To put a little bit of glue there instead of using the tape runner. And then I want to put that heart where I want to position it where I want it on the big heart. And then I'm going to take my scissors and clip off the top of that. And then it's time to glue down the word love, which is our main focal point, and rightly so. Love should always be our main focus. All right, so there it is. It's all set, and the card is done. I hope you enjoyed the card today, and I hope it gives you inspiration to try it for yourself. It's really quite simple. It's just a matter of waiting for paint to dry. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.